a pre-built base here, and my battle is I'm going to be recreating, my plan is I'm going to be recreating the Battle of the Fillet Pocket. Now, it's been a while since I've last streamed, so I'm not sure how this one will go. A lot of viewers, little viewers, but I'm kind of expecting not too many viewers. So, and this is one of my larger scale mocks that I'm planning on making. I do have a couple that are in the works right now. I'm just going to try to get logged on my other device and make sure that I can see this all right. But I'll just give it a second and wait for people to come on in. Again, just give me a second. Alright, so we are good. So I'm going to start by building a street, but first I got to get a setup in here. Which my idea is I'm going to have all of this, and I'm going to start setting up right now with just a blocked out area of where all the buildings are going to be. Now, I'm not going to be doing any fancy angles. I'm going to focus on all of the work on the sides and stuff like that. So I got all of this in here. I'm gonna throw that over there. So basically, I have a couple pre-built sections here, and that's gonna be one of the corners of the house. This is gonna be, I believe, the other corner of the house, and I'm gonna have a reddish brick house over here, and it's gonna have this as the roof. So that's my plan for right now. Again, I'm going to wait for a couple more people to get on in, but as of right now, I should probably start getting the rest of this set up. So, again, just got to wait for people to join before I can do anything too big. Just going to start working on the street right now. And I do have one moderator still. I'm pretty sure one of them quit, which is unfortunate, but it's alright. I can work with it. RTW is normally on here anyways, so I'm not too worried about it. And throw that down there. Shoot. I'm not finding too many parts here other than that. Yeah. Now, I did do a little bit of basic measuring and looking for what I needed on this, and my plan was I'm going to have a couple of German tank commanders or tank crew here, which I could pull out of the crowd. Now, I have these two tank guys, which are Minifig Co. minifigs. And I'm going to throw them down here. They're going to be around a table. Their tank's going to be parked back here, which is kind of defending the route which the soldiers are taking. And they're going to be kind of planning a sort of counterattack. Hello, Shayfry. Welcome to the stream. I'm building a LEGO World War II mock. It's my first stream in a while, so kind of waiting for more people to come on in, but I'm going to start getting some of this filled in already. Oh, message redacted. Alright, again, placing some parts in. This is the easier part of the mock, where I'm not actually building anything too complex. But then it does get to a couple of harder sections. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually take that back out, because that is a older dark gray color, and I'd rather have a more uniform road. Because at the Battle of the Fillet Pocket, it wasn't really bombed out as much. It was more of like a, I don't know, it was more of just a retreat than a siege. So the town wasn't targeted that much, I don't believe. Again, I'm just kind of saying this stuff from memory, because I don't have a perfect memory of what happened there. I kind of just decided that's what I wanted to do for this stream. Hello, Lily and Anahar. I think that's how you pronounce it. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I am, I apologize. Alright, so I'm going to throw that in there. And I should be able to throw a table or something in the middle here. But I'm going to start getting the rest of the road done and dusted. Can you say Arabella? Get off your phone now? Yep, sure, just did. Alright. So, I'm getting stuff set up right now for the main knock. Again, first stream in a long time, so just kind of getting back into the flow. I'm trying to do this again. No problem. No, we are already doing pretty well with 2 likes. That's pretty decent for starting off. Again, my couple of streams before I had to go on a break were a little bit disappointing, but this is actually off to a pretty decent start, so I'm pretty excited. And as you can see here, this is where I'm planning on putting the table where the 2 tank commanders are planning out what they're going to do next. But there is one problem here. Hello, Yvonne Ivanomak. Yeah, I like Legos too. Alright, so I'm going to take this out so that he can be a little bit further over. And I think I have a matte piece somewhere, but I might not, which would be unfortunate, but that's not too big of a problem. So we got 1 tank commander here and 1 over here, and I'm going to put a table in between them. Then the rest of the soldiers are going to be on this little sidewalk, kind of retreating out of the town. So that's my goal. No, this is not pre-recorded. I do these live buildings almost every Sunday. The past couple I haven't been doing this. So, again, just trying to get a couple of parts and pieces in here. What are you... I'm making a battle of... Shoot, not really battle. It was the encirclement of the Fillet Pocket. It's where a whole bunch of Germans surrendered during the Second World War. And I like building battles. I feel like it's just more unique and interesting than what others do. And there's a lot of good topics that I could go off of. So, it's a fun little hobby. We are actually getting a lot of decent viewership in here. I'm kind of surprised after my last couple of bombed, but this is actually going pretty well. So, I have the road system down. Just making sure there's enough space for the tank in here. Yep, that's all good. And then I'm going to press these plates down because that should be it finished. Yes, it is a road. Hello, little Krishy. Welcome to the stream. He is one of my recurring viewers and one of my friends. So say hi, little Krishy. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I have these light gray parts here. And what I'm planning on doing is I do kind of got to be strategic about this in the way that I place these. But I think I can just get a couple of these parts in here, and I have not as many of these plates as I thought I did. Okay, that's a problem. Shoot. Okay, so I'm gonna have to improvise this, which is always fun. I have a bunch of Legos. Yeah. I have been trying to cut back on that to make a little bit of extra money, but I'm going broke with this hobby no matter what, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, I was going to round off that edge, but I can't find the right piece. Actually, you know what? Let me just check real quick for something. There it is. So that adds a little bit more detail to that otherwise unremarkable curb. And I'm going to throw one of those in. Now, this is actually going pretty decent so far. of course, a couple of others haven't gone as smoothly or well. I like to build cars. Cool. I've tried building vehicles, but it's just not something I'm great at. I could always try to improve, but just haven't found motivation to. I can show you one thing that I did build, though. I built this Sherman tank that's British. I forget what it's called. It's a Sherman tank. But it's really cool. I really like the tracks and stuff like that. Alright. So, that was that. That's like my real only attempt that I'd even consider. But, yeah. The rest of them did not turn out quite as well. Alright, so, again, I'm just going to make sure that these guys do in fact fit on here. Hello, HUHC. I don't really know how I'd pronounce that. Huz. You're already in here. I know a lot of people do the repeated hellos. That's my favorite thing to do when I try to rage bait my friend when he's streaming. Now, I'm going to have a couple of these guys without weapons to kind of show that they were in a rush to retreat. And also because I just don't feel like going and grabbing the weapons out. But, yeah, I can't spell. Same. School doesn't do much for me. Okay, so I'm going to have that over there. And throw him in there. And we have a column of retreating Germans. Now, I do like how this is turning out so far. Of course, I do gotta add a couple more parts and stuff like that until this is gonna be completely done. But I'm happy with how it's coming along right now. That, and last but not least, we have our last German that's walking. And no, I'm gonna have him stepping with that leg. So, this is, I dare you to make a mech. You know, I did that stream a little while ago, and I ended up making a decent knock, but that was my first stream where I just asked what you thought I should make, and yeah, it did not turn out very well. I was not very happy with the results of that. But, of course, I could try again. But yet again, I don't really feel like it. Maybe next week, or some other week, but you should try building another tank. Yeah, I would. I've been considering building a Tiger tank, but I don't really have the parts right now. They're being used up in other mocks. So maybe when I'm have a little bit of content that I can post, I might try to make another tank. Of course, that one turned out pretty well, but that is, of course, because I used inspiration from some of the other things that I had, which I don't always have those. So I'm going to grab a part or two and throw that in there. Now, we got all that done there. Now I'm going to try to add this support and see if it fits. Huh. So that stone pillar is not quite fitting in there. I'll have to move these guys over a little bit to get them to move around it, sort of. Of course, it's not great. Actually, no, I could keep this guy in the same place because the pillar doesn't extend to there. I really like your tank and cars. Thank you. Maybe a flying thing like a car. Yeah, I already said I'm not really doing recommendations this one. But maybe another time. Maybe. Okay. Huh. That could work. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. It's kind of a mess trying to fit these guys in here, but if you can see the vision right now, I'm gonna have like a wall here. Are you doing a march? Yes, I'm trying to do some sort of, it's the retreat from the areas around Cannes in World War II. So it was just a unique bit of history, and I thought it would be cool if I recreated it. But we got all that in there, and that should be good. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. That's going to bug me, but whatever. So we got all that, and I'm going to throw a couple more of these parts in. Make the wall look destroyed. Yeah, I would, but I think I said it before. I'm not going to make the wall look as destroyed because it's kind of a battle that didn't happen through artillery or any of that. The town was basically untouched during the battle. So I would do that, but I don't know. So I'm going to add some texture to this, make it look a little bit nicer if I can. Got to find a couple of parts in here. Yeah, thank you guys for being here this early. Even my moderator isn't here, and one of them did quit, but that's just unfortunate. So we got that in there, and I'm going to throw that. I do say that a lot. Throw this there, whatever. It's kind of annoying. It's a habit I've tried to stop doing, but I can't. I'm an addict. Okay. I can't really tell what's going on in the chat right now, but that's fine. Okay, I think I have the rest of my red brick pieces in here, but I'm not sure. Okay. Maybe that would look pretty cool. Wait, I made a tank before and it's small. Oh, hello RTW, welcome to the stream. I'm building a Battle of the Fillet Pocket right now. So, it's going pretty well. Just trying to get some details and stuff in. RTW is my moderator. Say hi to RTW. Getting a lot of new people in this stream, which is always good. And, okay. So, I think I'm going to grab a couple more parts and place them in. I made a small tank before. Yeah, I saw that. I saw what you said. If you know what tank it was, then if you felt like telling me, that would be pretty cool, because I might even have one of them if it's like a Stewart or one of those. I know that the Stewarts are pretty small tanks, but okay, I'm gonna throw in a part or two more to add some extra texture. I could put that over, make it look like an overlying brick pattern. Ah, shoot. Throw that in there, and finally throw a larger one of these plates over. I have a giant Lego brick that can open, and there's many bags of Legos sorted by colors. Rye. RTW. Yeah, I get what you're trying to say there. Autocorrect is acting up. Okay, so that and then that. Got a couple of parts in here, so I think I'm gonna add a darker tan part. Okay. I am trying to read the chat, so If you just give me a couple of seconds. Okay. Okay. So I think I'm gonna make another one of these brick patterns in here. Maybe over here instead. Again, there is some background noise. I apologize about that. I can't really control it, but it is kind of a busy time of the day, so cars are going by. I bought it from a set and it's yellow. I don't know why. I don't know what set you're talking about, but if you want to elaborate a little bit on that, that would be fine. Okay, so I'm gonna put that there. That's a decent freeform area. Of course, I gotta throw a couple more of these parts in. And who is a bumblebee set that's from what the tank came from? I don't know. A tank came from a bumblebee set? That sounds a little bit odd, but I don't know anything better, so might not be the best judge of that. Now I'm throwing in these windows that I also prepared. So that is pretty decent. I do like how that looks. And hopefully you're starting to see the vision here. It's sort of a not as ruined house as some of the others. Spared from all the fighting. Of course, it would be cool if it were a little bit broken up, but I want to build a more completed house here. I bought it from a bumblebee set. Don't worry about the spelling thing, it's fine. Happens. I know my autocorrect sometimes acts up, so. Okay, so again, I'm just throwing some parts in here, and you're doing decent on time, I believe. Yeah, I should be able to finish this in plenty of time. Okay, so I'm gonna throw in another part or two. Like there, maybe. Yeah, that looks decent. Yeah, I like how that one looks. So I'm gonna throw in another brick. Except this time over here. Now, you see that could be a problem. I'm gonna throw this in just to make sure that there's nothing wrong. Yeah. Okay. So I can't have that there, so I'm gonna have to replace that with a, I guess, fully brown part, because that would match up best with the colors. And yeah, that looks decent. So, not a big problem. Can you teach me how to build a tank? You know, it's a complicated process, but what I started with on my best tank was I started with a sort of tread area. So you know the treads on a tank probably. And I started with that, and then I worked on the turret, and I worked on the body last because that's normally the hardest thing to shape. Okay. So we got that there, but that's my guide, or whatever you want to call it, to building a tank. It is complicated, but it is sometimes worth it. Of course, I do say sometimes because I've built tanks before that did not look all that good. Okay. So, we got all this stuff, and yeah, that's better. I just kind of broke that, but put it back somewhat into place. Okay, yeah. Of course, I'm not like a master builder or anything, but it's just a little tip that I hope can help you. Okay, so if I throw that there, of course it'll look a little bit of a plainer part of the wall, but I don't need it to be that detailed because it's going to be covered by all the Germans. And then I can place that in there. So I want to work on that next. Of course, this side is not going to be as pretty as the front side because it's not supposed to be. So I'm going to have all of this stuff in here with maybe that, and throw down that in there. Okay, so we're sitting at a decent amount of likes right now, 5. So it's going pretty well so far. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to throw that there. And maybe throw a brick up there. Yeah, I feel like it's too close. It's too compact, so maybe not there. Maybe I could throw that in there? No. Alright, I'll figure out a place to put that. But for now, there's not going to be anything else. Now, I think I'm going to make a brick over here, if I can. Like the stream chat. Yeah, you don't gotta force people to do that, but I just don't feel like saying that personally, because if my content is good enough, people should like the stream. Alright. Shoot. So we got a decent amount. I'm gonna place that in there and maybe put another one of these brownish bricks in here. Now, the one thing that I do need to do after this is I do need to kind of place in another wall, sort of, so throw this in there. I'm very happy with how this is turning out so far. And I don't know what I'm going to do for this last top bit. I might just throw a easier layer on here. And then I could finally throw that brick up there. That would, yeah, that looks decent. Alright, I'm not going to worry about that much more. Happy New Year. Thank you. In every other stream I keep on seeing 6, 7. Yeah. People just don't want to let that go, I guess. Okay, so, in theory, I should be able to place that there, and that's the roof to this building. Of course, it doesn't look nearly as good as the building itself, but it's a roof, and it gets its job done. So, I'm going to work on this other side of the house real quick. But this is actually turning out pretty decent. Again, doing pretty good on time. We got 30 more minutes to finish this. It's actually going by really fast in terms of some of my mocks. So I'm going to throw this down here. Oh, shoot. Just dropped a part. Thanks, I appreciate it. Okay. So I'm going to throw that right there. and throw a couple more. I'm going to take that out for now, just because I feel like it kind of gets in the way of my building. I don't want that happening. Throw another brick in there. Now this is going to be a more simple side, not as much texture, but I'm going to try to add a decent amount. Okay. Okay, so I don't know if it's a glitch, but it says I'm at 0 viewers right now, which is not great. Oh no, it's going back. My monitor's doing decent. No, not monitor. My device is doing decent now, so I don't think it's an official glitch, but that is weird. Okay. Throw that there, and maybe... what am I gonna throw in there? I don't know. Maybe another one of these. I'm just trying to make this look a little bit more natural. And just one more of these, and it should be done. That is good. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fix this up real quick, and then throw it back in. So, that is basically the house finished. Of course, I kind of want to build like a roof to this thing, because it kind of does look a little bit weird if it doesn't have like a covering over there, but that's basically it otherwise. Now there's 2 people. Yeah. Yo, 8M back again. Thank you. Happy New Year to you too. Okay. So that is pretty good. I do like that. But I gotta find a part to throw in there. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, it keeps showing up as 0 for me. I really don't know why. But I know that people are watching, so I don't know why it's showing up as 0, but it is. Which is mildly concerning. Now, I feel like the only bad thing about this right now is the roof. I really don't like the roof, but there's not much I can do about it. I feel like I'm just going to have to live with it. So I'm going to start to get these minifigs back in place. And I'm kind of liking how this is coming back together. So we got this other German that's behind. Huh. Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's glitching right now. I'm really not. This is kind of bugging me out. I got 7 likes though, so thank you guys for that, if anybody is still listening. I know that my first stream did glitch out, so ever since then I've tried to keep a close eye and make sure that it doesn't do that. Okay, so I don't think you can tell right now because it's a little bit far away, but basically what we have here is the whole kind of base. So I'm going to build like a stone wall here, try to make that a little bit more simple. But then I'm going to have this tank here, which kind of covers up some of the empty space. And I'm going to have these 2 German soldiers planning out what they're going to be doing next. Yeah. So, I don't know what's going on right now. My most recent commenters aren't really saying anything, which of course you don't really have to, but it's just kind of concerning. Okay. I'm just going to keep on building. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I bet it's actually fine, but gotta be careful. Yeah, it keeps saying there's one person. So, that's not great. That's my dogs in the background. Sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna finish this up real quick. It's going in between 1 and 0, which is kind of concerning. I don't like that. All right, so I'm just gonna have to find a matte piece or something in here. I can't really find anything, so yeah. Maybe a radio there would look cool. I feel like that does look decent. Add some more detail. But otherwise, I'm gonna have to place some more stuff on here. And again, it's not glitching out on my other device, so I really don't know what's happening right now. Yeah. And no new chats in the past couple minutes. This was off to a really good start, but I really don't know what's happening right now. Okay, so my basic idea for this part is I'm going to throw down a couple of these darkish tan plates, if I can find some, and they're going to kind of create a more divide between the two of these, because I feel like I haven't really achieved that too much with this, and I want to. So I'm going to have one of the sides more creeping up towards the... Okay, we're back at 2. I really don't know what's happening right now because no new chats, no nothing. Which is kind of weird. Kind of weird. Of course it does do this sometimes, so I might just have to give it a second or two. But otherwise, I'll probably end this at regular time. And that's decent. So I think I'm going to throw down a couple masonry bricks and stuff like that and try and see how this turns out. Yeah, no new chats. I don't even know why I keep checking. But it shows exactly what's going on. So, of course, for the people who are watching this not live, I have no clue what's going on right now. Might as well just talk to you guys for now. Explain what I'm doing because there's no new chats. I really don't know why it does this, but it seems to love to take down my streams or mess them up somehow every time I try. I found chat again. Okay, so it's still up. Just was glitching for a second there, I guess. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. I really don't, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. It solved itself. So I'm going to add in another one of these sort of... Oh, shoot, it's broken. But, all right. So that's decent. Yeah, this is not going too well right now. Since the chat ended, it's not kind of been going downhill. Haven't been able to find pieces and stuff like that, but all right, we're back to 1. Ah, man. Whoever my one viewer is right now, thank you for staying along and watching this. This is probably pretty painful, but I appreciate you being here. Okay, so my idea is I'm going to throw these parts in here, then I'm going to find another one of these pieces in here. I'm going to throw one of these brick pieces on, and it's going to continue this stone pattern along. Anything new in the chat? No. Okay. Yeah, I'm keeping up hope because this was a really good stream, but it just doesn't seem like my chat is able to talk to me. So it's kind of a problem, but I don't know how to fix it, so I'm just gonna keep streaming. Of course, I'm looking for a part right now, so I'm not checking the chat. Okay, so I'm gonna throw that in there. And all right. So we got that. Nope, I messed that up. We got this here. Oh my gosh. What is going on? Now, this is not going too great right now. That's not how it was. That's just not how it was. Okay. This is really confusing me. Because it was like that. I don't know what happened. Oh, I figured it out. It was like this before. Or this. More like it, I think. I threw that on. Then I threw this on here. And then I can throw one of those. Shoot. This is not going too well. I hate it when streams go like this. They're always so strong at the beginning, and then we're back to 3 viewers, so was shaky a little bit there, but seems like we're finally getting back to normal a little bit. Yeah, I really don't know why this happens. Happens like every other stream, but just have to live with it, I guess. And then I'm going to throw another one of those in there. So, now that I'm done with that, I think I'm going to place in a couple of these hinge pieces because they look very cool. And they create a more realistic, more detailed fence top look. So if I throw all those in there, that looks like a pretty decent fence. We got the 2 German soldiers there. I could also throw probably one of these sandbag pieces here just to make the ground a little bit more detailed. And then I can finally throw the tank in over here. So this is basically the mock finished. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. We might end this at 45 instead. So I thank everybody for staying here throughout the stream, or maybe even trying to find the stream again, depending on how much this glitched. But this is basically the mock. We got the tank over here. The backside is not pretty at all. But we got the tank over here, the retreating line of soldiers. Now, I also wanted to show you guys really quick something that I have been working on. And of course I didn't record this part because it was very tedious for me. But we have this U-boat here, which looks very cool. I'm very happy with how it turned out. You're back? Okay, thanks. Thanks for letting me know. But I have this U-boat here, which is another one I'm going to post soon. I really like how it turned out. I really like the angles and all that. And it was kind of to display all my Kriegsmarine. Of course, they're not the primary sailors that would have been on there. They would have been more raggled, as I've seen in a couple of pictures. But I'm really happy with the angles. Of course, there was a rail back here in the original photo. But I couldn't really replicate that because it was a weird angle to start off with. And putting rails at that angle would be pretty tough. So I don't know which one I'm going to post sooner. I might post this one later because I want to post this one really bad because it's using a lot of my parts. But anyways, that's basically it for this stream. And I'm pretty happy with the mock I was able to create. It's got a lot of good parts, especially on that reddish building. Of course, I might try to update the roof and make it look a little bit better. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Hello, Jackson. You caught about the end of the stream. So unlucky. Oh, yeah, you should sub if you want to. I'm not forcing anything, but we're just about done with this stream, so I'm going to put some of the parts back. Of course, I can talk with you guys for a little while longer, but I do got stuff to do after this stream, so I can't hold it for too long. But basically, we got everything in here. I'm going to get some of this stuff sorted out. And I'm happy with how it turned out. I think it accurately, or somewhat accurately, portrays the fillet pocket. And I do like it. So I think that I'll be pretty happy to end this one. We ended it with 7 likes and a lot of new viewers, so I'm thankful for that. And I'm happy that a lot of people sticked around and found this interesting. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in